Okay. Um, yeah, that old man that they said is actually pretending he's well. And they said that was actually the one that's saying this Karen's one. The one that, the old guy that came up and uh, looked at me and said, for every idle word that you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. You try to leave Dave, I'll list you a dirty word. Okay. He also looked at me and told me, um, I'm using sodium pentothal. Now, I woke up with bruises on me and I was sick to my stomach and I was throwing up. How would you like some old man to come up to you and threaten you that and then say, I use sodium pentothal on you? You said this. And it's a crazy, shitty lie. He actually, this is funny and you're going to die laughing. He said, you told me you were wearing this one nightgown. You bent over properly one time and they seen your bite and you're going to have a life of pain from it. I'm like, who are you? I, I just like, you're insane. And I got away from him and left with other people. Okay, for one thing, I went home and I'm like, Dave, I always wear that long tent nightgown down to my knees, underwear and a house coat. I know you do when the grandkids are over. I know that. And I just replaced all those nightgowns this last year. He's like, I know that. I only kept the tent nightgown and some laces. He's like, I know that. I said, everything else is new. He's like, I know that. I didn't even own that nightgown. And, but do you realize how crazy that is? How would you like some weird old ass come up and tell you that he broke in your house, stabbed you with an amnesia drug, and told you to say something crazy like that? I'm using sodium pentothal on you. And you told me you'd have a life of pain because you had a certain nightgown on and you bent over one time and they seen your butt. I'm like, you're insane. And walk off. Like, who the hell are you? You can't break in somebody's home, turn off their security system, pick their bedroom door lock and stab them with a needle and tell them to say something crazy like that. And I'm just like, who are you? And I didn't even own that nightgown. That's the kind of crazy stuff they were telling me say under amnesia drugs. You know, I was talking to someone today, and he said, you know, those amnesia drugs, they can actually drug you, tell you to go do something. You'll go do it. And when it wears off, you don't even know you did it. He said it's that bad, and he's a retired officer. He's like, that's not. And he said those are horrible. I was talking to another retired officer tonight. He's like, well, when they broke in and stabbed you with needles, at least they didn't cut your kidney out and sell it online. I didn't want to tell him, no, they got my skull open and put a chip in it. Was retired Pete, Judge Pete, friends with Judge Ludick, joking around in the back, 9/18/19. Day of my divorce, his picture was on the wall, Peter something. It's his daughter Michelle. His son is a spitting image of him. White hair parted on the side. Had ordered them in Wendy's. You ought to chip her. You can't do that, the other guy replied. Why? She didn't do anything wrong. Her family don't care about her. Then the 12/21/18 stab in the neck of the refrigerator. Foggy, hazy dark, bright light, felt myself cry. Woke up with a 4-inch bruise with fingerprints embedded in my ribs. A dead white skull, hair missing, skin feels funny. Another man's combs on the dresser, and a steak knife with bone and flesh in the sink. And Dave's accusing me of having an affair. My head is pounding. And I didn't know what happened. I had been out for 6 hours. I went back to bed and people are still breaking in and stabbing me with needles, even though I locked my bedroom door and have the security system on. I'd wake up and it'd be off and I'd have marks on me. It was living through a concentration camp. They said that he even drugged me before and told me to say stuff. I don't know who he is. He just works for Dave. Who the hell? You cannot break in and roofie drinks, stab people with needles in their sleep, and tell them to say crazy stuff under amnesia drugs, and then run around having people harass for him. That's serial killing shit. But that was the kind of crazy shit they were telling me to say. Yeah. I just looked at him like, who the hell are you and what are you talking about? And do you realize how kind of stupid comment that is? He admitted to drugging me and telling me to say that kind of crazy shit. And they said he was actually doing it before. He works for Dave. I don't know who he is. He's just some old ass. But Judge Pete's son is the one running it. He told him to chip me. And I'll tell you what, I met Darlene down, my ex-friend, down at Bob Evans. He showed up with another guy, and the guy looked at him and said, you idiot, you left the comb over there. And he said, well, I had almost a naked lady laying next to me. You're lucky I only combed her hair. That means that was his fingerprints on my ribs. He's a serial killer. It's Michelle's brother, Judge Pete's son. Tell you what, it almost looked like him in a fake beard. They're that close. Yeah, where Michelle's mother's bragged. Memorial Day weekend, 2019, food counter at Walmart. 62, Saturday morning, 8 to 10:30 in the morning. For it's my daughter, her husband takes. He met her in Ravenna at a store when she was having a stomach spell. It's for my daughter they did all this for, and our family watching her doing this. And for who's Karen's rich boyfriend but the state of Ohio who protects her? Yeah, it's them. It's probably a family member that did it. But yeah, I had that kind of crazy stuff. People walking up where I had bruises, we were using sodium pentothal, you said this, you said that, and they were complete lies. Where they were framing me, and here they were doing it before, where I had giant bruises, orange size and grapefruit size bruises, and hand marks in my arms. And I'm like, did I wake up and I'm like, did I squeeze myself? And the fingerprints were bigger than mine, and the people said they were beating me under amnesia drugs. And people make fun of me for being victim, for being drugged. One of the guys that watched me said that we always knew you were a victim of an occult that drugged you and tried to kill you before. A victim. It's like people making fun of a girl that got roofied in a bar, and a bunch of men took her out and raped her, told them to say something stupid, and then have all their friends harass them and act like they're going to get her in trouble for them raping her. And she don't know who did it. It's that sick. And people need to realize how sick and satanic this is. And then realize, look in the mirror and say, oh my God, what have we been doing? I've had all kinds of men come up and apologize to me. We found out they made everything up. And we're sorry for participating. We feel bad about everything. There's something when a lady came down from Ravenna, January 1st to 25th of this year, and I was using Circle K gas station on Fulton Road by 6th Street to use the bathroom between 7 and 9 in the morning. They're standing outside the bathroom inside the gas station. We made a big mistake being in her home. She's never said she did anything wrong before. Me and my group came down to verify it, and she was the shower scene lady, where she didn't get to see a drug confession before. And they were entering things in and out, where they told Ed, the Oakland apartment maintenance man, all the tapes before were them, not her. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here. And the guy at the Hunger Task Force, white man, bald with dark eyes, he said we always knew the tapes before were them, not her, so we never said a word. and we're going to tell him retired Judge Pete and his family and the undercover police helping out frame me, photoshopping a shower scene, and then drugging me up and telling me to say crazy stuff like that. My God, I about died when that old ass said that. I about died. And I went home and I got away from him. It's like, Dave, I didn't own those nightgowns. I just bought them last year. I know that. Always wear the one down to my knees with underwear in a house coat. I know that. Or leggings and a sweater and a house coat when the kids are over. And I had house coats that were his. I had bought them for him. He didn't like them. And they were long and fuzzy and down way below my knees and warm and soft. So they became mine. At 33 years of marriage, you don't want it? I bought it for you. It's now mine. And I had a red and blue one that he didn't want, and they were mine. I think I still have one of them. But yeah, I always wore those because were soft. And it just makes me sick. People think that they can harass me. You know, it's something Judge Timothy Ludick told Dave. You are never to interfere in her life. You're never to have anybody interfere in her life with her and her children or your grandchildren or family. You have anybody interfere in her life or you, I will put you in jail for it. And I put people in jail like you all the time. Looked right at and warned him. It's in my divorce. First time is 6 months. Second one's 2 to 5 years. And the other one's like 7 to 10. He wasn't going to play anymore. He wasn't going to interfere in my life. And he wasn't going to have anybody else do it either. With the relationship of it, you with her and her children, or her grandchildren or family members, or any part of her life, and you won't do it and won't have anybody else do it. He warned him. It's in my divorce decree. And he signed it, and he's a magistrate. And so did Magistrate Paula. It's documented. He's not allowed to have anybody interfere in my life or have anybody else do it. And there can't be a tape before the FBI. Under the Department of Justice, the man's home is his castle, and it's not to be entered into. The Fourth Amendment, right to privacy. It's a legal search and seizure. Further into the law, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify for initiating and speaking to the other person in the home is abuse and misconduct, and failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. It goes into the right of privacy, illegal search and seizure. And where even Officer Reinhardt said, you don't even realize, he said, I forget how he said it, but he said, with your husband dating a judge's daughter from that county, that whole county couldn't work a case against you. It'd be a conflict of interest. It'd be thrown out. It'd be illegal for them to, anybody in that county. They can't work a case against you, ever. And I looked up, even for police, the law for that. They would go to jail 1 to 10 years for even working anything against me. Just like the judges. Friends and family. You can't frame. You can't go against somebody for any personal interest, friends or family. You can't. They have to excuse themselves. They would have had to call the FBI. Then we wouldn't have to worry about people not seeing drug confession. Somebody seeing shower scenes, them admitting in shower scenes, and then admitting people drug me and ratting everybody out that where I had bruises, and then have the gall to run around and say crazy stuff like that. They said that old ass is the one that threatened me to stay quiet is saying that he's Karen's Will. Will is retired. He knew nothing. On the last phone calls I had with the secretary, Will, you tell those police up there to get a hold of it. We're busy. They were too busy to look into anything. And then that guy said that the police called up there and told Will I was lying. So they wouldn't help me. He wouldn't help me. So they could kill me and terrorize me. And you make fun of me for them committing heinous crimes. 5 judges framed and raped 41 lives before they were stopped. They got 6 to 20 years. And I was talking to one of the retired officers. He said, one thing you don't realize, too, after that thing with O.J. Simpson, for every officer you tell what happened to you, they don't help you and find a program to help you. They're now financially responsible for what the other ones did. They're state employees. It's not county jurisdictions. They're state employees. The state's supposed to take care of it. They're state employees, all of them. And it makes them, and he said it's a federal law. Then I got to thinking about Justice for Victims of Torture and Terrorism Act. It was passed in 2008. For any government official hurt you, the remedy is they are to make it right with you. See, even though the crimes came from Portage County, they're state employees. Any officer I tell, they have to find a program within the state to get that chip out. They have to make it so that the state makes it right because it was a state official, government official that hurt me. They're state programs. Most people with violent crimes, the state already gets them medical help, moves them, and they get a settlement because the government official had hurt them or let them go through a violent crime. You got to think all these people that were kidnapped, drugged, raped, and they didn't get to them fast enough. They make it right with. And it's a federal law, they have to. And these people run around and act like they're going to try to grab it, and they can't even look at their stuff. This legal search and seizure is 3 to 5 years. That's why they're looking for that Stephen Eric for stalking Massillon Police. November 24th, 21, 8:40 a.m. A Massillon officer came in a uniform and sat here on Wales Road. We're looking for a Stephen Eric. I'm here to watch if there's a Stephen Eric stalking him. We don't know who they are yet, and it's finally got funny after everything they did. Nothing's admissible. Well, that's what the Canton investigators said when they talked to the guy at the Hunger Task Force. We're mad this guy knew they did all this to her before, and it's some guy named Eric. We're trying to, we don't know who he is yet. He's trying to help him get away with everything. They're wanted men for stalking, because that's what, when you say you tape somebody unaware, they're stalking. You don't get a quarter where you run around lying that you had a quarter, or cops giggle at that. Because it comes down to no matter what. Until Will took your statement, he was ready to protect you. There's nothing else. It's protected like cases only. And then that heavyset cop showed up within a day or two at Walmart 62 and said he asked Dave about those people threatening me. He better not put his hands on me till he finds out what's going on. Well, he said he asked Dave about those people threatening me. The FBI couldn't even be in my home. See what I mean? People forget they live in the United States of America. You have a right to privacy, a right to remain quiet, a right to a legal representation, and a right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond. It's illegal to be in somebody's home. And that's exactly how the police tell me. And the police need to find a program to help me through the state, or when like the BCI or someone else pulls that protect life cases. It was up to you once you were notified to find a program to help her. Because like that officer said, it's federal law and it holds them responsible because they're all state employees. It's not just counties taking care of the people they hurt, it's the state. And the state will correct the police for not doing their job. And it's up to whatever officer I tell. It was their place to take care of me. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. And it's a federal law they fix and find a way to fix what the other ones did wrong.